2 Samuel chapter 5. David is anointed as king over Israel. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David in Hebron and said, "Here, we are your own flesh and bone. In the past, when Shaul was king over us, it was you who led Israel's military campaigns, and Adonai said to you, 'You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will be chief over Israel.'" So all the leaders of Israel came to the king in Hebron, and King David made a covenant with them in Hebron in the presence of Adonai. Then they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began his rule, and he ruled 40 years. In Hebron he ruled over Yehudah 7 years and 6 months. Then in Jerusalem he ruled 33 years over all Israel and Yehudah. Conquest of Jerusalem. The king and his men went to Jerusalem to attack the Yevusi, the inhabitants of that region. They taunted David, "You won't get in here. Even the blind and the lame could fend you off." In other words, they were thinking, David will never get in here. Nevertheless, David captured the stronghold of Zion, also known, now, as the City of David. What David said on that day was, "In order to attack the Yevusi, you have to climb up, from the spring outside the city, through the water tunnel. Then you can do away with those, so-called, lame and blind, whom David despises." Hence the expression, "the blind and lame keep him from entering the house." David lived in the stronghold and called it the City of David. Then David built up the city around it, starting at the Millo, earth rampart, and working inward. David grew greater and greater, because Adonai the God of armies was with him. Messengers from Tyre. Hiram king of Zor sent envoys to David with cedar logs, and with them were carpenters and stonemasons, and they built David a palace. David then knew that Adonai had set him up as king over Israel and increased his royal power for the sake of his people. The family of David. David took for himself more concubines and wives in Jerusalem after coming from Hebron, so that still more sons and daughters were born to David. Here are the names of those born to him in Jerusalem: Shammua, Shovav, Natan, Shlomo, Yivha, Elishua, Nepheg, Yaphia, Elishama, Eliada and Eliphalet. Conquest of the Philistines. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, all the Philistines went up in search of David. On learning of it, David went down to the stronghold. The Philistines came and deployed in the Rephaim valley. David consulted Adonai, asking, "Should I attack the Philistines? Will you hand them over to me?" Adonai answered David, "Attack. I will certainly hand the Philistines over to you." So David went to Baal-Pratzim and defeated him there. He said, "Adonai has broken through my enemies for me like a river breaking through its banks." This is why he called the place Baal-Pratzim, Lord of breaking through. The Philistines had left their idols there, so David and his men took them away. The Philistines came up again and deployed in the Rephaim valley. When David consulted Adonai, he said, "Don't attack. Circle behind them, and engage them opposite the balsam trees. When you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the balsam trees, advance, because then Adonai has gone out ahead of you to defeat the army of the Philistines." David did exactly as Adonai had ordered him to do and pursued his attack on the Philistines from Geba all the way to Gezer.